All right, this is a special city council meeting, Wednesday, November the 13th, 2024. This is to review and approve our canvassing 2024 general election. So do a roll call.
Mayor Ackworth,
Here.
Councilor Phillips,
Here.
Councilor Pendergrass, here, Councilor Richards,
Here.
Councilor DeVolley, here.
We have resolution 2024-39, canvassing board declaring election results, which is in the package you got earlier today.
Like this one?
Yes.
Is it,
That's all we have.
is this any different, this stuff here?
That's for you to take with you, fill out.
Okay.
Not a discussion item. Look at this.
No,
Not on the
no,
agenda.
no,
Nothing
that's-
for tonight in there, is there?
No.
Okay.
So, the resolution of the City Council of the City of Orinoco, Minnesota, acting as canvassing board to canvass the returns and declare results of the election. So, read through this. I think it's pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution 2024-39.
Second for discussion. So I'd like to understand in the now there for paragraph, it says declare the results valid, approve naming Dan Spring as an incoming council member effective November 19th. Where does that come from?
That comes from the state, the Director of Elections. So because the position that Irv has that was the reason for the special election, just like any other special election. When that seat is filled, that person then takes over immediately.
Well, I'm gonna go against that because the state statute 412.02 subsection 2A says no, okay? And that's a part of what the council is, and so he's gonna stay on as far as I'm concerned until end of the appointment, which is the end of December.
Okay, again, this is coming directly from the State Director of Elections.
We've turned around, we've got two different people that have talked to us from the state, which is again, that statute of 412.02 substandard subsection 2A. And we'll put it up to a vote for the city council that he stays on until the end of his term, which is the end of December. He can go ahead and he can do it and go come on with the rest of them, with Marie and Paul that are sworn in January of 2025. So I put the motion out there right now for a vote.
We have a motion on the table, right? So,
Well, we had a 2-year election and a 26-month election.
what's that?
Irv still holds that seat because Irv was assigned,
He was appointed.
he was appointed to that seat to fill out the end of the year when we'd have the special election in November, and the new person would take over the second half of that term.
And again, per the state, the way it was explained to me from the Director of Elections, that is not how that works.
Do you have his number?
You'd have to get it online. I don't know
Who
his,
did you talk to?
the director. I'd have to look up his name. I don't have that off the top
Why
of my
don't you
head.
get his name and his number too? Because this is from the League of Minnesota Cities.
Okay.
We're going with League of Minnesota Cities, okay? It's a local election, that's what we're going with, which is 412.02 substandard 2A.
I'm going with the gentleman who runs the elections for the state and his expertise.
That's the Secretary of State, right?
This is the
Keith Ellison.
Director of
Keith
Elections.
Ellison's the Attorney General.
Yeah. So when we appointed Irv, is my understanding back in, because Carl had more than 2 years, he would be appointed up until the point of the special, we have a special election that's different than a general election. It's a special election for his name. So the special election was to take place and he would become appointed, or he would be, Daniel would take over, the person that next wins the election would take over that position. The special election calls for. It doesn't say to say that to start the new term. He's,
Just so you know, we talked to League of Minnesota Cities twice. And they turned around and they wanted to know why there's such an issue with Orinoco. What's going on with Orinoco. So again, I'm saying, this is from the League of Minnesota Cities, is who we go with, okay? That's what we follow with their statutes. Okay, so with that, I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you. It's gonna be till the end of December. Okay, that's for the League of Minnesota Cities.
Well, and when Irv was appointed, none of this was brought up. It was not said until there's an election.
you can go back and look at the
Yeah,
note.
Well, I was
I'm pretty sure.
under the impression I was on here until the end of the year, and I have no issues with doing that.
But that's why it's called
So,
a special
you know,
election.
So,
Special election takes the position of appointing
We,
somebody. to
we
fill a
went
term.
over that with the League of Minnesota Cities. We went over everything that there was with this, Ryland. Okay, that's their ruling on it, okay, not just one, but two people of the ruling, and that's the statute that goes along with it, so.
The League of Minnesota Cities, I see, as an advisory to the cities. And I would, and that's how we respect them. When you talk to League of Minnesota Cities, the next thing you say is they end the conversation by saying, check with your county or check with your city attorney. So
And I
in
will- I will-
my mind, the city attorney represents us. The League of Minnesota Cities is an advisory.
Point of information.
well,
Like, who is it you talk to?
Again, I
Let's get the
don't
number.
recall the name. I'll have to go back upstairs and look through my notes for stuff. But I spent the day talking with Olmsted County election official, who ran the election, Amanda, can't remember her last name. I talked with multiple people at the League of Minnesota Cities, and they all directed me to talk to the Secretary of State's office, and I was connected with the Director of Elections from the Secretary of State's office. That's where they all sent me to. So I am giving you the information that was given to me directly from the Secretary of State's office here in Minnesota, from the Director of Elections. This is what I was told, and it does go back to, as it was explained to me, just like any other special election, if we had held it in April, they would take over in April. It doesn't matter that it was with November with this one, they would take over right after the election was done and the results were declared.
He
So,
was put on to take care of Carl's term, okay?
well, that term has now been replaced with the election. So that then replaces the individual, and you cannot have two people
Let's
holding
try
the
not
same
to
seat.
talk each other.
does there have to be another special election to put him on for my last 2 months? And why are we being so hasty about this? I'm willing to stay on until the end of the year. He's elected to be elected in January
Which is what it was.
for 2 years.
But he wasn't part of the general election.
But when he was put in and he looked at it, that's when he was supposed to take, and if you look at what it was listed, it was starting January for everybody that's gonna be going on for that seat.
On the ballot itself, it said it was a 2-year term. not a
Yeah, not that
26
26 month term.
I don't remember the exact wording. Either make,
Wording is important.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't remember what it said. I'm assuming it said finish the term. So
Well, there's-
we have a disagreement, so I would, call in the, are you calling the vote then?
Yeah, let's call it.
He called the vote.
Yep.
Or
I'd rather take the time, because obviously we have a discrepancy, but we have an opinion over here talking to the Olmsted County and the Secretary of State. We need to find out who he talked to, because that's one argument we need to resolve. Is that an issue or not? Because it's a special election. The term to start at the special election, next available is what we're doing tonight, so.
We're not finding that out.
If he was to start in January, it would have been in the general election, but it wasn't. A special election, because Carl had more than 3 years left on his term. So
And Irv was appointed,
That's-
Irv was appointed.
To take care of the.
he was
full of
appointed
the
until the
time.
special election was held on November 5th.
To follow, it was to finish his term,
Well, he was finish out the year.
finish the year.
right, which is it.
No, it's until the election is
Until the
held.
special election.
then
Well,
we
let's
need to-
just put it to vote.
Okay, let's put it to vote.
So let's just, if we vote for it, and if it's voted down, how do you explain the reason for why we had a special election?
To fill in the other half of that term.
No, the special
Absolutely.
election started with this vote that we had on November the fifth, and the next available time for appointment, which is why we're having the meeting tonight, is to approve the election results, which puts him in, which puts Daniel in, being appointed at the November 19th council meeting. Now, we can argue, we can approve the results. That's basically what we're here. Whether he starts November the 19th or January 1st, that can still be resolved by having this contact, and we can have that discussion on November the 19th.
We should rewrite the resolution then.
Absolutely. And as
No,
long
we
as
can't
you're,
write the resolutions for a special election. That's what
we're not gonna approve this with what's going on with this writing that's in here, Ryland. It's gotta be removed, it's gotta be rewritten. And while you're doing it that way too, for the write-in votes that there are too, for the 247 write-in votes that there were for the two council positions, I'd like to know who those are for the 247 and also for the 13 that were under us for the mayor and also for the ones that were in that 2-year term for the 18. So I'd like to have those names, please.
What this resolution is adopting or approving this paperwork from the county.
We're not gonna, I'm not gonna sign this resolution because it's not correct, Ryland. It's not right. I'm not gonna sign it.
At the top of the resolution, it has Minnesota statutes 205.185 subdivision 3A. Between the 3rd and the 10th days after an election, the governing body of the city conducting an evaluation, including a special municipal election in November, shall act as a canvassing board, canvass the results, and declare the results of the elections.
Yeah, I read that.
That's
I
what we're doing.
understand that, and that's right. But this isn't right with what's here. And I wanted to have the rest of the information on who the 247 write-ins were.
But
And
it's
for all
not
of us.
given to us from the county.
It is given to us from the county. The county gives that to us. We talked to the county. The county was giving it to the office. We're just asking to have that information
And I
given to
can
the
get
rest
you a
of the
copy
council.
of
All I
that,
see is 13.
Where is it? How come it wasn't here?
because I was going off of previous packets. This was the stuff that was in previous packets. I've got extra sheets right here that I can make copies of for you. It's not a big deal.
Well, I'm just saying I'm not gonna do that. With what that's in here, I'm not gonna sign this. Yeah, we can put this on and come back for another special meeting or take a recess that there is and come up with information later. But,
Clarify
yeah,
everything,
absolutely.
so it's right.
So if we vote this down, we've gone against the Minnesota statute 205.185 subdivision 3.
When is the 10th day?
What's that?
When is the 10th day?
15th,
It's Friday, right?
Yes.
It's Friday.
We have 2 days.
you got 2 days, absolutely.
We have 2 days to figure it out.
I don't.
Special.
We got 2 days, to approve the results of the election.
So what are you gonna ask the county? What are you gonna ask the county that they already haven't given?
We're looking for the names, number one, and the rest of it, I'm not gonna sign up with what it is in here until I know what's going on, because I've got the statute that there is for League of Minnesota Cities that says that Irv's supposed to be on here until the end of December.
Is that a
To
statute?
finish his term. Yeah, it's a
Is that a
statute, yeah, 412.02, subsection
What was it
2A. 412.02, subsection 2A. So we need to put it up for a vote, we'll put it up for a vote. You want to, is that what you said, Tim? You want to have a vote?
So if we have a vote, if we vote to deny accepting these results,
Mhm.
and we violated the 10 days, doesn't that put the city in a bad position?
We might put the city in a bad position, but I'm not gonna
Okay,
deal
let's-
with that.
Why do
I'm
we have to go
sorry.
beyond what is in front of us?
Well,
So Ryland, I don't think anybody here is saying that the results
I'm not,
that were against the results. It's the
it's that
verbiage in here
That's right there.
of removing Irv prior to the end of his term and pulling in Dan Spring.
And have him in for 26 weeks instead of 24.
Right.
Okay, so that's not what he's elected for. He's elected for a 2-year term.
No,
That's
he's
24
elected
weeks.
to finish Carl Krause's term.
But that means that he's gonna have 26, and he's not elected for 26. He's only elected for a 2-year term.
Yep.
2 years is 24 months.
26.
It, to
24
me,
months.
it seems underhand.
I think it's very underhanded.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
either,
I don't understand why I can't just finish it and be over with it. I mean, what difference does it make?
The subdivision, the resolution says,
Well, that's in the resolution.
That's part of, we're not talking about the
Somebody
revenue.
added that to the resolution.
I'm sorry,
I said somebody added that to the resolution.
right,
The resolution to accept the votes is all at the top of it, but then it says.
Somebody else
therefore.
put their in.
It says, but now therefore.
we could,
That
we
should
could
be
modify the resolution just to give you the whole subdivision if you want to.
No, I'm not working that. We're talking about where it says now, therefore, it will be resolved, okay, and that shouldn't be in there.
Because that's,
That's, that needs to be taken out. If Renee, you wanna go take that out and reprint it again without that on there, then.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that because of the resolution in the first whereas. That is the most important resolution in a resolution.
No, I'm not talking about the whereas, I'm talking about the other.
I
Now,
know, but-
therefore, be it be resolved, if you take that whole thing out of there, then guess what? It'll be fine. I'm not taking away the whereas, I understand that with Minnesota statute, the 205.18. I have no problem with that, I have no problem with the rest of it, we're looking for the names and, Jason's getting that for the write-in, which I think is public knowledge. For that, but the other, as long as that's in there, I can't sign it.
Well, the resolution, you've read it several times already. I've read it myself and said it, including a special municipal election. And that's what this election was when his appointment was up until the point of having the election. We had the election, we had 4 candidates plus write-ins. And Daniel Spring got the most votes.
so does that mean that my term is up too?
No,
I mean, it's,
your term is not
we're
up.
talking about the same thing. I
No,
mean,
we're not.
he was appointed to complete
Girls,
the term being vacated. And
But he was
That's what
filling
he's
out a
doing.
3-year term. A 3-year term says, it's like when Paul came in to finish for Dana, he finished with, he had 2 years left. She had 2 years left, so he was appointed to fill the term out. But when it's over over 2 years, in this case, almost 2.5 years, the point was that a special election needed, and we needed to appoint somebody up until having the special election. We had the special election. Dan Spring was the most votes, so he gets installed at the next November 19th meeting.
Just again, Ryland, I'll bring it up to you. The discussion was done not by one person at League of Minnesota Cities, but by 2 people at the League of Minnesota Cities explaining exactly what the situation is. And both of them turned around with this subsection and said, no, he stays on till the end of the term, which is what he was appointed for, which is the end of December.
Mike Flaherty available to call?
What section were you referencing? 412.022A?
Yeah.
So it says in here, if the vacancy occurs before the first day to file the affidavit of candidacy and for the next regular city election or more than 2 years remain the unexpired term, the special election shall be held at or before the regular election, which we did, and the appointed person shall serve until a qualified successor elected, which was Daniel Spring, at the special election to fill the unexpired portion of the term. That is the unexpired portion. Once they're elected, they fill that portion.
Which is, again, but he was elected when he was put in to finish the term of Carl, which was the end of this year.
Well,
He
the
just had it for
actuality
2
is
years.
2 more years.
2 more years. Was set to fill the remainder of the term, but we have to hold a special election, which is what we did. And per state law here, Daniel Spring has been elected. So once you verify the results here, then he takes over after the special election. Excuse me.
But his
Of the
term was stated as a 2-year term. That's what people voted on.
Okay, I don't know how they list it. I don't have anything for that, sorry.
Stated as a 2-year term.
So a simple solution, and since
There's,
what the council runs, what goes on here is we can put it up for vote. Excuse me? Hey, excuse me. Excuse me, excuse me. Well,
So.
would you excuse her?
Ryland, what are you
Would
gonna
you,
say?
would you, out, okay, please. Remove her if she's doing that coming up.
That's right.
Will you reprimand her for doing that,
She
please?
didn't say anything.
She has no right to be in the council.
council, thank you.
That's right.
You have no right to be up here with the council. Ryland, would you please take care of that?
No, it's okay.
No, it's not.
Getting back to what is.
No,
Ryland, you have to do that. You're supposed to do that. She's not allowed up here in the council by doing that.
She did not talk to any of our.
I don't
council
care.
members.
She went, that she has no right to be up here.
Renee too.
Renee is part of the city. Come on, Ryland, why don't you, come on, hold up with what you're supposed to do here for being the
Okay, I'll
council.
excuse myself. I'm trying to help out.
Please do.
Please,
Please
please,
do.
please. Thank
Please,
you.
Annie. Thank you. So. Did everybody understand what Jason just told us?
Yes, but we also turn around and talk directly how the interpretation was done with the League of Minnesota City.
So either one of two things happened. One, you're correct, or two, the people you're talking to, it wasn't explained to them correctly about what we were finishing. It's a 3-year term we were finishing. It wasn't a 2-year term, because everything you said about a 2-year term applies.
Just so you know.
I'm tired of this going in circles. There was a motion, there was a second. There needs to be a vote.
All I can say is voting to deny this is a direct violation of Minnesota statute 205.185 subdivision 3.
Well, and I'll
City
say this.
administrator,
And again, I'm
city
not,
administrator is advising us of his contact with the security of state, not LMC people. We don't know what was explained to the LMC. All we know is that our city administrator talked to the Secretary of State office. They also talked to the Olmsted County office. And the thing was that this was a special election to vote for a person because Carl's term was more than 2 years. Could have been 2 years and 1 month, or 2 years and 3 years and 5 months, but it was more than 2 years. And that's what he's saying in that statute.
I gotta say, if you want to turn around, Ryland, and have Renee go and remove that paragraph. Remove that paragraph. In here. And bring that with the same resolution that there is as 2024-39. We can turn around and all of us will agree to turn around and do that with this being removed. And then that way you're gonna be in statute what's going on, just to remove that paragraph. And this can be done, or whatever we're gonna do on city council come, November 19th, but take that out if you wanna turn around and do it that way.
We can't do that.
Yes, you can.
Oh, we could vote, but we can't
You
because
can
it's violating
take this
state
out.
law.
No, you can take this out. Now therefore
I don't
be
know
it
what statute you're
resolved.
talking about.
This
I
one
know
right
that
here.
The one Jason's
It's right
talking
here.
about.
This paragraph right here.
You can't do that.
So this is for declaring election results. Okay,
Here's the special election notice that was sent to elections. I do not know why it was stated as a 2-year term.
Do you have a copy of the ballot?
I may have a copy.
So I'm ready to vote.
Oh,
I'm ready to vote too. Okay, we're up.
we're not ready
Call
yet.
the vote.
No, we're not ready. We're not ready.
We said we're not ready. We just said it's a call to vote.
Did you read this?
Yeah, I did. I'm not still gonna sign that with what's in there. I'm not gonna do that. Because we talked to the League of Minnesota Cities. I'm not just gonna turn around and do that, you know? With this being gone out of there, with this paragraph that can be brought up at the city council meeting that you wanna do
But
it.
here's what the ballot said. Special election for council member, city of Orinoco, vote for one. This says the special election, the resolution that we passed in March says to fill a vacancy due to resignation, special election for one council position, 3-year term. And per the statutes that Jason read, that's effective with the next city council meeting, which is November the 19th. He's finishing his term out. It starts on November the 19th. Marie's and Paul's term starts in January, date, whatever it is, 6/20, I don't know. So that's a regular term. It starts 4 years, but this is not a regular term. This is a special election term. That's why we had this current election. That's why it was identified in this resolution as a special election, and that's why it was on the ballot as a special election. For Paul and Marie, it said, council member, city of Orinoco, vote up to 2. Term starts in January. The first one ends in December. So we can't get much clearer of what we're doing here.
Like third, he said,
Could you read that, President? Read it again, please.
So what?
The statute.
If the vacancy occurs before the first day to file affidavits of candidacy for the next regular city election and more than 2 years remain in the unexpired term, a special election shall be held at or before the next regular city election, and the appointed person shall serve until the qualification of a successor elected at the special election to fill the unexpired portion of the term.
So the qualification would be the council swearing somebody in.
No, the qualification is the votes and the canvassing of the votes.
Is there anybody that disputes what we agreed to and signed? We didn't sign, I guess we voted on it though in March though. In the special election. Finish a 3-year term. So this term starts after the election, Daniel Springs, and so that's what we're making, that therefore be resolved. We're accepting the results. And Dan is an incoming member effective November 19th. I, as the mayor, and Paul and Marie are incoming in January 2025.
point of clarification here is, say the, statute says we have to, we shall vote yes in this, right? That's what it's
It's
saying.
hard not to prove, it's hard not to see.
No, I'm just saying, it's saying we shall vote yes on this. This has to be approved, right?
Yes, the resolution
Then why
as
are
it's
we doing it?
proposed. What's
Because
that?
it's required by state law.
It's a moot point. It's my point.
I thought this was gonna be a 6-minute meeting myself, yeah.
I did too. Well, I see that on there.
Well, I think there's plenty of information here for what we need to do for the vote as a council.
Recess the meeting till Friday and give time. If you recess the meeting, you don't have to call a special meeting. You don't need 70, you don't need 3 days.
3 days.
You don't have to have 3 days if you're calling up.
So
If you recess the meeting, you don't need 3 days. If
why
you
do
call,
we need to
if you-
recess it? We've got this information, we've got the resolution. What's gonna change?
so where does the discrepancy come in between League of Minnesota Cities and this? I guess I'm kind of,
I don't know, but I'm following state law. So state law supersedes the League of Minnesota Cities.
Well, why does the League of Minnesota Cities even have a statute then?
Well, they were referring to a statute, but we don't,
I
I don't
just read the
understand
statute. That's what it
why they
said.
shared that information with council.
Yeah,
It's
they did.
it's incorrect.
Yeah, there are two people that shared it. It wasn't just one. And it was given the exact
Right now,
information.
right now,
what
the
was
League of
going on.
Minnesota is putting us in a bad situation because we're following state law. Here we're following an advisory comment.
I think that, you know, it might be wise for us to do the recess and come back in on Friday and come up and see what Mike has to say and go from there.
Well, I don't understand why there's two different statutes that are completely different from each other,
Well, we don't know that.
you know?
This statute that he's been just referring to from the LMC could be for 2 years or less than 2 years, which is the right statute for less than 2 years. But that's not what we have. We have more than 2 years. And recessing and voting again, it's still,
Mayor, if I may make a suggestion.
what's that?
We've got the township waiting. If we want to recess, we'll recess till Friday. And I'll contact the director of elections for the state of Minnesota and see if I can get him on a conference call. We will have to do this during the morning hours of Friday. We're not gonna be here in the evening hours of Friday to do that, so. If that works for everybody, we can recess it till the evening or the morning of Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. We'll make recess till sometime between 7 and 11 a.m. Friday morning.
All the time, please.
I'm sorry,
All the time, please.
times 5:33. Need to vote on that, just recess. Come back.
We can do it, but
Got
if
the
you wanna
point of
vote on
time.
it, we can vote on it.
Cool.
we had a vote on the table.
I'll make a motion. We recess till Friday morning between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. Second,
Second.
all in favor, signify by saying
I
aye.
have to withdraw the other motion, don't we, for the.
Recess is just a pause. You can come back to it and address it then.
Recess is just motions and recess, I guess. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.